Hello, and welcome to the Rival Queen podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're back in the BMB Media Studio.
We've had a few slip-ups tonight. That's all good.
That's okay.
We're back together. All is right in the world.
And we also just tried. Can I mention this?
Yeah.
We didn't talk about this, but we just tried the wine spritzer, the Piquette Berry from Louvo, and the purple, which we love. And it's absolutely delicious. My favorite is usually the Muscat Mint. And I feel like this is
your new favorite?
It's a very similar kind of like just surprise and flavor.
Yeah, it's
like the
really
mint's a surprise, the berry's a surprise.
the Piquette Berry. I haven't had the Piquette Peach yet. You have had
I
it.
do like the peach. It's definitely got a little more peach pizzazz, I think, than the berry.
Peach pizzazz.
Peach pizzazz.
I want everyone else to go try it and then review how they describe it. I want to hear who else describes it as peach
That just
pizzazz.
came to me. I didn't even plan that.
I really, really, really love that. I'm with you. I'm a huge fan of this. So if you haven't yet tried the new Luvos, you can grab them if you're in Nova Scotia at the liquor stores. They come in these fabulous little cubes.
Yeah, a few different flavors.
A few different flavors mixed in. Do yourself a favor. Have a treat. You won't regret it.
Big fans.
Big fans
Big
over here.
fans.
Big
so
fans.
much love for the Luvo. Wow, we're back. It feels good.
It's nice to be back in the studio. It's nice to see you in person.
And have a proper mic set up as well.
Oh yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah,
Feels
definitely.
good.
I agree. It's nice to see Mark in person too, our producer. It's kind of
Mhm.
crazy. Like, I know, I mean, we were back from spring break last week, guys, but we weren't actually back like this-
Together.
No, like this is really truly our first back from spring break episode. I think. Do we have two? Oh, we've had two. We've had two come out. Anyways, we reunited today. We had some gifts exchanged.
Yeah, and thank you to Allie Beckwith. She gifted us some beautiful Beck and Boyd merch.
Yeah, if you haven't seen
So cute.
Allie's sweater, she was our first episode this year of 2022. But she makes the most fabulous crew neck sweaters through Beck and Boyd, and she just put out a new line.
And now we're basically best friends.
And now we're basically best friends. I still think we need to go to St. John this summer and do like a live show with Allie.
That would be amazing.
I think it would be fun. I
St.
think
John
she's
is cute. The waterfront's cute. There's some cute little restaurants.
I haven't been there in
just said
years.
Cute a lot. But
If any of our listeners are in St. John or from St. John or love St. John, tell us the things to do. And also we'll give a shout out to the mayor of St. John, who is our friend Sarah Reardon's mom. So,
would be rude not to.
so Donna Reardon.
Hopefully we see her. if we
Hopefully
go.
we could
Maybe
meet.
we could get her involved.
Maybe we could meet the mayor. Say, oh yeah, we could have her at our live show. This could be
A
amazing.
star-studded event.
We got to send Sarah a message about this and get her to put it in motion for us. Ashley, you had a fun little question here for us.
I did
go
because we
through.
are perusing, talking about snacks with our guest Sarah, who we'll talk about in a moment. And then I brought you some Chex Mix back from Florida. And then what do you have a craving for?
Just more Chex Mix? Oh
No,
no,
the
hot tamales.
Hot tamales, which
Which-
I've never had.
I've never had them. I think again, you can get these in the US, and these guys we met on our trip had this like 1.8 pound bag of hot tamales. So also something very specific to the US
So
is
now you're
making
craving them.
candies 1.8 pound bags, like ridiculous. Well, when I first had them, I was like, ooh, I don't like these. I don't think I like them. And then like I had a couple more. And then the next day I was
Are
like,
they
I
like
want
a
a couple
cinnamon
more.
bar?
Yeah, they are, but they're like the texture of Mike and Ike's and they're good.
Okay, I like.
And so I just
cinnamon.
want like a few of they're good. So anyways, they've grown on
Fresh
me.
breath.
I can't get them here. I can't get Chex Mix here. I think
What's
it's
a girl to
actually
do?
a blessing that the two like junk foodie snacks that I'm into right now don't exist in Canada.
But
Thank
I feel
you.
like we probably wouldn't like that. I
Thank
probably
you.
wouldn't be down for Chex Mix. Like I'm not going and buying snacks like that ever.
You're right. I
But I
wouldn't.
think it's like a novelty.
You're right. I wouldn't eat it all the time, but once you start, this is like what's the Pringles one? Once you pop, you can't stop. Is that it? This is like
Is it?
what Pringles wants to achieve. Did it used to be when we were growing up? Was that their slogan?
Something like that. Mark, do you know?
And Lay's was
Yeah.
bet you can't have just one or eat just one. Anyways, that like Chex Mix has achieved what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
So you're right. I wouldn't eat it every day, but once you open a bag,
I was saying, I think
I
it's
challenge
because-
someone to have it and not think it's good.
I think it's the different texture makes it fun. And like Pringles are delicious. I do like them, but if I had a couple, I'd be fine. You're not wondering what combination is coming next.
Good point, Ashley. Good
You know,
point.
like
Every
party
handful,
mix.
every handful is a different bite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you just get the cereal ones, and then sometimes you get a mix. Anyways, so that got me to thinking, Sarah, if you could have a vending machine and you can only pick one thing, just nonstop, you could go to this vending machine. What would be in that vending machine?
You're not going to like my answer to this because this is what I've been craving so much all week. I want a vending machine of fresh pressed juices on demand. That's all I want. That's
because
what I
they're
want.
expensive and you would just be like, boop, free.
Oh, well, I wasn't even thinking it was free. I was just thinking convenience.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I agree with like smoothies. I love smoothies. I hate making them sometimes.
yeah. And
I
like,
dread it.
I'm on this new thing where I'm going up to Harvest. I'm buying 4 at a time. And like,
you need to
and
buy a juicer.
and I have a juicer. The problem is I don't like juicing
I don't
because
either.
it's like
Messy.
so messy. So
Expensive.
today I was thinking, I don't actually know that it's more expensive for me to buy the juices
No,
made.
probably not. It's probably cheaper in the long term.
And
sure.
So I'm like, I'm actually going through this cost evaluation. So if anyone has done this, like from buying fresh pressed juices to like making them at home, like please hit me up on Instagram because I'm thinking through this now.
Do you know what? It just came to me. They should have like instead of make your own wine, you go to Noble Grapes, you go and they've got the equipment. You can buy the produce or you can bring it and you can just like use their facility and juice yourself.
Ooh.
You know, why not?
Fresh pressed juices.
Yeah, like
yourself, homemade, a little
lab. A lot of them,
lab.
just like the Noble Grape. Anyway,
that's an idea. What would be in your vending machine?
I wanted to say champagne.
But I know. I love the champagne.
Coffee, like just like a nonstop like coffee tea machine. I mean, those do exist.
They do exist.
But I'd like to have one.
They're nice.
Mm-hmm.
I lived on one of those in France. And I had so many coffees and they're cheap. It was like 75 cents. But like it wasn't cents, it was euros. So whatever that is. Centime in Francais. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so you go for coffee? Like, are you thinking that like a thing that is built in the coffee machine?
Anything that I just have to press a button and I have options. But,
all right.
But then I'm picturing a Moe or like.
I'd love the champagne one. I think the champagne one's the coolest.
And then you just come over. I'm like, hey, you want a champagne? And it's the little mini bottles.
I feel like Luvo should do a Luvo vending machine. That could be such a fun. We gotta send that to the marketing team.
Yeah. When I was that would be cool at the liquor store or something.
Yes, like a party. Yeah.
At the Orlando airport, they have Kylie Jenner lip kits in the vending machines. I'm like,
so many questions, but amazing.
But
don't they always sell out? Like maybe that's where you can get them when they're sold out online.
I think
hit up buy a plane ticket, the cheapest plane ticket at the Orlando airport. Go in and get your Kylie lip kits. Resell those online on eBay. 10 times the price. That could be a real business. When we actually, I gotta tell you this. I gotta tell you this. When we were in Costa Rica, as any of my Instagram followers know, I suffered a severe sunburn. I've never been that close to the equator. My back and butt were bright red. And I wasn't in pain. It didn't blister, but it was like sensitive. Like, so to all the wonderful people who are on Instagram who wrote me and told me to put milk and yogurt on my skin. Well, at first I thought it was crazy. I did it and it was amazing.
Really?
It felt so much better, so much relief. And I actually read on Cosmo, they had it because I was Googling this being like, is this crazy? So I read the article on Cosmo and I think it's something to do about the bacteria in the yogurt. I mean, guys,
both of them
probably none of this is true. So just like have it, like do your own research. Don't like,
don't
Cosmo, don't bet your life on this.
Fact check.
I'm not even giving flack to Cosmo. I'm saying like my interpretation of what I read is probably wrong. And the bacteria just kind of, they help to, it soothes the skin, takes the heat out. Like if you eat something spicy, the milk, you drink milk, not water. But then the bacteria actually like helps to, I don't know, resurface your skin. It's not resurfacing your skin, but it's doing something helpful.
If it worked, that's all that matters.
But the reason I bring it up is because I did that and it was amazing. And then one of these guys that we met this group of lovely men from the States while we were on our trip in Costa Rica, me and Katie and Susan and my sister. And one of them got this horrible burn, and he was like,
did you say, I've got the concoction version?
I did. Well, I told him about my yogurt experiment, and he was like, okay, will you do it? So we went out because
Where was he sunburned?
He was in pain when we were out in the morning on his back and his stomach. So then we lay him down on the kitchen table in their apartment, and Jennifer and I covered his whole front chest.
I think I saw a picture of this, and I just assumed you were at like a spa.
In yogurt. And like, but we were also in bikinis, and the whole time we were dying laughing, being like, this could be a business, a very weird business, or a weird OnlyFans. And it'd be like Jennifer and I covering people in yogurt who have sunburns.
And then like the after effect is like, oh, feels so good.
Yeah, he felt so good. We set the timer for 15 minutes. He hopped in the shower, rinsed it off, came back, flipped over on his stomach, and we did his back.
Rinse and repeat, literally.
But we literally loved it. I was like, you get to go home and tell people you went on vacation to Costa Rica and two sisters in bikinis covered you in yogurt. And I think that's funny.
That's good.
So that was anyways,
something new.
That could be a fun little side business if we're looking for side hustles. I don't know how I got on that. Anyways, back to the topic.
I don't know. I was like, maybe you wanted that concoction patent in a vending machine. I don't know.
Maybe I'm going to be working on the special yogurt concoction or mix that will be available this summer for all your sunburn needs. Stay tuned, you guys. Ash, today we had a very special guest on.
Yeah, we did. We had Sarah Kikuchi on, and we just love saying her last name.
So fun.
She is so sweet. I actually met her through the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society fundraiser that I'm doing, and heard about her and her story, and that she was just a really good speaker and inspiration. So we decided to have her on and just learn more about her experience at such a young age, going through
cancer.
Yeah, and you're just going through so much at that time in your life, and then adding cancer and other personal things that she dealt with at that time too. It's just pretty crazy.
It's great to have Sarah on and really just understand kind of her story navigating that period of her life. And she had a type of leukemia, and really the effect it had on some of her relationships, also on her own body and her own kind of mind frame going through it and after, and how she kind of not only healed physically, but also emotionally going through that process. And I think there's actually it's not surprising, but it's like, I learned a lot from her through her experience. I think we can all learn a lot through her experience. And so we're super grateful she was able to come on and share with us so openly about her story. So thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, she looked so cute. She's so pregnant, and she just looked adorable. So we really loved getting to know her, and we're so happy she is where she is today.
Happy for what she has coming up. And Ashley, for anyone who wants to help support you and the LLSC fundraiser, how can they do that?
The easiest way is to go over to my Instagram at Ashley Kilpatowski, and there's a link there.
And that is going till June 2nd.
That's right.
So
Which is insane because it's almost May.
I know. So you can donate, you can share. There's some events coming up.
Yeah, but
coming soon.
Coming soon. Well, let's just dive in and get to know Sarah a little more.
And if you want to connect with Sarah on Instagram, you can. Her Instagram is at Sarah M. Kikuchi, and we will link it in the show notes. And she spells it out for you in the episode as well.
That's right. She does. All right, let's do it. All right, well, we have two Sarahs in the studio today. I keep saying Sarah, but we want to welcome Sarah Kikuchi.
Thank you.
Studio.
Thank you for having me.
We're so excited.
It's so great to have you here. I thought you were just going to say we have two guests here today. And I'm like, am I a guest too? Like,
You can be. I don't know. But I met Sarah actually through the LLSC, the fundraiser I'm doing. And I just thought once we connected, we had a little chat a few weeks ago. And our conversation was just very eye-opening. And I found it not only inspirational, but just very, I went away taking a lot from it. So that's why we really wanted to kind of further our conversation and share with our listeners, because I think your story is incredible. You've been through so much in your 20s, physically, emotionally, mentally, dealing with cancer. And I don't want to say cancer survivor, but we'll get into that later.
I don't mind that. That's fine.
Are you sure? Because
Oh,
that
yeah,
just like comes out naturally, but we'll dive into kind of, some of the thoughts on some of those terms as well.
Oh, I'm excited to hear your story. So this is all new for me, but Ashley was very uplifted after talking to you. So I'm really looking forward to just diving into this and hearing more about how old were you when you were diagnosed with cancer?
I was 27.
Okay.
27, yeah. So that was in 2018.
Very young.
Yeah, that's so young. Well, yeah, I'm like, how old am I now? I'm almost 35. Okay, so that would have been not that long ago, like getting hit with that massive, like life shock and news.
Yeah, it's not that common. Like I had ALL, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia, a blood cancer. And it's not very common for like that age group. It's more common in children. You hear of a lot of children having leukemia and then older people, but it's just not. Yeah, I think my age cohort was like the lowest chances of getting it. So
How did you find out about it?
well, I wasn't feeling very well for a while. I'm an elementary school teacher, so I just thought I was really tired and exhausted after the school year. I got diagnosed in July, but I had headaches and felt nauseous, but was just chalking it up to stress. And then I ended up fainting and actually breaking a rib and puncturing a lung, which I didn't know at the time, but I went to emerge. And then they do blood work when you get there to kind of see what's going on. And then, once we got the results of that, my family doctor was very concerned. And he kind of fast-tracked things at the hospital to get me in a little bit sooner, to get further testing. And then, I was diagnosed within just a couple days. So,
Oh my God.
So it was really the fall and going in and getting that looked at, that's
Yes.
where they kind of dug in and saw it.
Yeah, because I mean, you could think that's anything, just, being tired or feeling like, having headaches or whatever. That's not super uncommon. There's so many reasons why that might be happening. So you would never jump to that conclusion or think it's that serious, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
20 or 30 screaming elementary school children would definitely maybe lead me to believe that as well.
Yeah.
So what kind of happened next? Like, obviously you're hit with that news. You're also injured at the same time. Like what did you think, or like, how did you handle kind of that diagnosis or shock?
Well, I remember being in the room, of course, and I don't know if other people do this, but in my life, I've pictured like, what if I ever got cancer? Like, how would I react to that? Or how would I feel about that? And I just imagined that I would be like crying and it would be terrible. But actually, I was just in shock. And, the doctor sat there and went through the whole treatment plan and was talking about everything. And I was just kind of sitting there like, okay, like, what happens about that? Like, what about this? What about this? And just asking questions. And I was very calm and
Oh my God.
yeah, so I kind of, I guess, surprised myself. I didn't really expect to have that kind of reaction. But I was just more of like a zombie more than anything, I think. But it sounds like most people are like that. Like, you're just kind of in shock hearing that kind of news. You're not going to react like you might think you would. So, and then pretty much started treatment right away. So I was in the hospital for 1 month as an inpatient in Halifax. And then the treatment plan that I was doing was a little over 2 years. So then I spent the rest of the 2 years as an outpatient, just coming into the hospital each week or multiple times a week for treatment.
What was that time in your life like? Like, were you weren't working during that time, or were you?
When I was in treatment?
Yeah.
No, I had to stop work. But I was actually 1 year into my master's degree. So I actually decided to continue studying. I thought I'll try to see if I can keep doing this. And then, I actually was able to complete it. And then I started actually another program, which I'm just finishing right now. So I'm going to be graduating this spring from another program.
Well, that's
But-
amazing. So congratulations.
Thank
on
you.
both of those things.
Thanks. Yeah. But it was really nice to have that. Like, I didn't have work. I didn't really have any sense of normalcy. So being able to study and be with this same group of teachers and friends that I've been with for the past year, working together, was really nice, and just kind of, made it feel a little bit more normal. But most of my day-to-day stuff was totally like upside down. So totally different.
How did you? Oh yeah.
So, no, I was just going to say something to keep your mind off it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm picturing if you're at the hospital or, not feeling well at home, at least you could have something to read or study. I don't know. Was that hard? To
Yeah.
balance?
Mostly it wasn't. Sometimes if I was feeling tired, I wouldn't really feel motivated to do an assignment or to do whatever, but it was like a master's in education, which I'm really interested in and passionate about. So the work we were doing was really enjoyable. I would say, yeah, like you said, it was just a really good distraction. It's very positive to have that. And I don't know really what, I feel like it would have been a lot different if I hadn't done that. Like I would have been feeling a lot lower probably. And I don't know what I would have put my energy into at that point. Yeah.
How did you feel going through all that, like over the 2 years? Because it's such a long time, right? Like initially you have that shock, but then like once it starts to settle in, what were some of the things that you experienced?
I think I didn't realize that at the time, but I was definitely for the first little bit, I think I was depressed, but I didn't recognize that. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to watch Netflix or TV shows. I just wanted to lay on my couch and stare at the ceiling or sleep. Like I just had no motivation to do anything. And I also was very, very weak. Like I couldn't really walk very well by myself, or I couldn't prepare any food or anything like that. And then I think probably after about a year or so of treatment, I started kind of getting back into things. Like I started to get stronger. I was able to be more independent. I didn't need to rely on people as much. So I could be more social and see friends and do things. And that was very helpful. I think the first year was probably like the first little bit, and then the first year was harder than the second year. And then you're kind of used to it and it becomes the new normal.
That's crazy to think about.
I know 2 years feels like such a long time, but
it seemed like that at the beginning. When they first said it was going to be 2 years, I thought, how am I going to do this? It seems insurmountable at the time. It seems like it would be it sounds like forever when you're at the beginning, but yep, they have it kind of broken down into phases and weeks, like, week A, week B, and then, yeah, you go through the alphabet and yeah.
What's the prognosis of that type of cancer? Like,
I think it really depends on age, and there's I guess there's like B cell ALL and T cell ALL. So it really just depends on the person and how they respond to like the first part of treatment. So I went into remission after the first month, which is what they hope for.
Amazing.
And then that's when you can move on to the 2-year part of the treatment plan. But some people have to do a bone marrow biopsy or different things, which, a bone marrow transplant, not a bone marrow biopsy. Everybody has to do that. But yeah, like a transplant, which I didn't have to do. I just did chemo and brain radiation. But yeah, it's different for everyone, I think.
No, I only ask because I feel like that would have such a big play on your mental health too. Just like the expectation that you kind of hear out of the gate.
Right. I don't know that they really, I think you can ask for that information. I don't think they just share that, or not every doctor just shares that with you. But I feel like I might have asked at one point, but at each kind of fork in the road or whatever, like if I could have gone to the next point or not, or like had to do something else, like I always got to go to the next stage. So I was always kind of doing well. They're like, oh, you're responding well to this, or your blood work looked good. And so for the most part, yeah, it was like just it went the way that they would hope. Not that you would hope to have it, but yeah.
That's good. That's good. So you were married at this time as well. I know this is something we talked about
Yes.
weeks ago. And this was something that I found not surprising. And you were a little bit surprised, I think, when you talked about this with the doctor down the road in regards to your relationship and kind of the stressors and things around that, which I just didn't think about. So can you kind of tell us about, the support system and your relationship and how that affected things over the 2 years?
Yeah, I think actually my relationship was the most difficult part of the whole experience, like more than the physical and everything else that I was going through. That was definitely the most stressful. It's quite common, I guess, to have, obviously it turns everybody's life upside down. It's not just your life, it's your families, it's your friends, like everyone who's supporting you. So for some people it's really difficult. Some people just aren't caretakers, or they're just not able to do that at that point, or they don't have the tools. And so this is common, but I think I had told you, like the doctor didn't mention anything. No nurses mentioned anything. Nobody said like, hey, just a heads up, like this is something you may want to know about or you should be aware of. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that was the most challenging part, was just having someone that was supposed to be supporting you who wasn't really able to support me. My family was like my big support system. So I have my parents and my sister and my brother and their families, and they were like amazing, like really, really amazing. They were driving me to all my appointments. They were coming to the hospital all the time. They were making me food. They were really great. So I would, not worry, but I would feel really bad for people who don't have that kind of support system. And then their relationship is also really struggling and they're having challenges with that. Like that would be really tough. But I had a great support system in my family and my friends. I would say the relationship, I guess one of the issues that he had was that I might not be able to have children, and he couldn't really get over that. So that's something else that we had talked about before. And it's quite common that you wouldn't be able to be like, you don't have time to freeze your eggs or anything like that. And obviously at 27, you're not thinking about freezing eggs and you haven't made those kind of preparations. So you have to start treatment right away. And often the chemo and can have quite a bad effect on like your fertility. Yeah. So that was like, in my case, one of his big issues was that he couldn't handle that I might not be able, or would probably not be able to have kids. So
that would have been such like a hard loss at that, even just that idea to try to face yourself if you wanted to have children.
Right. Yeah, I think at that time I was just more concentrating on me.
Yeah, of
like
course.
and the shock too. I couldn't really process that, and I didn't know for sure one way or the other. I was waiting till the end of treatment to kind of do some testing and find out if I still had any eggs or what condition they would be in. So I was trying not to think about it too much during treatment, because there wouldn't really be anything I could do, or I wouldn't be able to find anything out until the end.
Which is actually such a good point. I think not letting your mind go to like places that you can't control, especially when you have to like take care of yourself. And that's such an interesting thing when they talk, like when people talk about health and things, it's like you can have 1,000 things in your life going wrong, but once you're sick, there's only like one thing that matters.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. And it's just, something I can't control. So I was just trying to, I couldn't really focus on it. I was just really stressed out about the relationship. It was like very, the person became very unkind and non-supportive, and didn't know about any of like the treatment I was getting or what was going on, would like disappear for days at a time. Like, I felt kind of not embarrassed, but I don't know, something. And I didn't really want people to know. So I was just pretending that everything was fine, even though my family could kind of sense it was definitely not fine. But I would pretend he was there and he was cooking for me and whatever, even if he wasn't, kind of thing. So so sometimes I would just be alone, like for a weekend or whatever, doing stuff, and really I should have had someone there at that point. But I didn't want to let people know what was going on.
How long were you guys married?
We were married in 2015. So
3 years.
At that point,
Yeah, well, I have to say, I know that's something terrible to face that early on in a marriage, but you're probably better off if that's, the going gets tough and someone can't support you and stand by yourself no matter what, then I'm sure there would have been other things that would have happened in the future, because like the vows say, to death do us, or what is it, sickness and health. And death do us part, like all those things you they sound really cliche, but they're kind of important.
For sure.
I think too, it just talks about, like, it shows too, you just don't know how sometimes people react to things like that, right? And you can't predict it.
You have no idea until you're in the situation. And I think that's why some people like it happens to so many people, because you're not really prepared for that, and you don't know what someone's going to be like in a situation. They don't know what they're going to be like either. But I think a lot of people aren't able to handle that, or take on these roles and responsibilities they don't want to. And Have
you gotten any insight on that from like nurses or doctors or anyone just on like how that happens or why? I know you said you've heard it's been like common, but just even from your own like curiosity.
No, not exactly like reasons why, but I mean, yeah, after I told my doctor kind of what was going on, once things were kind of getting finalized, like we're just, we were separated and we're like, you know what, this is, yeah, we both agreed that we would go our separate ways. I let my doctor know and they're like, oh yeah, that's pretty common, oh, okay, would have been great to know before.
Yeah.
But I just know that as well because I'm part of a lot of online communities like Young Adult Cancer Canada or different organizations or different pages on social media. And it's a very common occurrence, I think, but it's just not something that people think about when they're thinking about a cancer diagnosis or anything kind of life-changing like that. So, yeah.
I can't imagine that. I would never guess that. Like, that's crazy.
You would think that the person would become more supportive and would be your caretaker. So yeah, I think it's usually quite unexpected for most people.
Or at least just be there and know, hopefully, knock on wood, this isn't forever. And even if I don't think this is my person, I'm going to support this person in this time because I need it. And it's such a difficult thing. But I think anytime someone gets, well, everyone's world, especially yours, the most got flipped up and upside down, it's hard for people to kind of like deal with those things, like in any diagnosis or anytime something's just changed in a household. I think it can be, whether it's like divorce or anything, it's like how people really aren't equipped, I don't think, to deal with those sorts of hardships or whatever.
Yeah, we talked about that with Joey actually when she was on the podcast, that when she was divorcing her husband, like her friends were so uncomfortable, and so some of them found the change uncomfortable because it was like harder to understand what their relationship was going to be like after that change. Not that this is the same, but it's the same sort of thing. It's like,
it like you said, it actually ended up being for the best because through the whole experience, I was able to kind of realize I hadn't been kind of true to myself or being really authentically me, or I didn't really know who I was when I was, we first got together, and then through this whole like cancer diagnosis and experience, it changed my perspective on a lot of things and made me realize what was most important to me. And then, so it actually, not that I'm glad that I had cancer, but some of the things that happened because of it really helped me in my life today. And like, I feel like helped improve my life, and I'm actually much happier now than I was. I thought I was happy, but now I'm like, oh, you can actually be happy. Cool. That's great.
That's such a nice blessing. What were some of the things that kind of were put in perspective for you?
Just I'm very much a people pleaser. So I wasn't really concentrating on what I want out of life or how I want my life to look. I was doing a lot of things because it's expected of you. I had a house and I had a car and I was married and I was working and I had a job, and it was all the steps that you're supposed to follow. So it felt really good. I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then you're there like, oh, is this how everybody feels? Like, is this what it's supposed to feel like? But I was like, well, it's what I'm supposed to be doing, so this is good. Kind of just convincing yourself. And everyone says marriage is a lot of work, so I'm like, well, this must be what they mean, and so now I'm focused more on like, okay, what do I really want out of life? How can I make that happen? What does that look like? Who am I? All these really big existential questions, but
we love them.
We ask ourselves those quite often.
All the time. Mark knows.
Almost every day.
Our producer's laughing. He gets soul questions from me every week. I'm going through a soul upgrade right now, Mark.
But it feels good to do that. Like
totally.
I think I was reflective before, but I was ignoring things that I knew weren't feeling good, but I was just like, it's fine. Like, I can, this is fine. I wasn't like looking for great, I guess. And I was just like, this is okay. I can do this. But I just thought everybody was feeling that way.
No, that's such a good point. I think there's a lot of people that feel like that, and I think, Sarah, we've talked about this before, is like, we were kind of programmed, oh, this should be next, or this should happen again, house, the kids, the marriage, whatever. And it's just like,
I haven't done any of those things. I've got a car, actually.
Someone told me the other day that my husband and I have been together for 17 years. We've been married for just over 10. And they're like, oh, well, you're not going to have kids now. Like, you've been married or together for that long. I was like, says who? Like, don't, like, people just make assumptions
Right.
about, now we're going off on another thing.
No,
I
but
think
you're
it's
right.
really good to recognize, like, what is making you happy or not, and not trying to push that through because it's like the standard or whatever.
Or
Yeah.
like the group
The
most
norm,
taken. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think I was just doing things for the wrong reasons. And I don't think I would have been completely miserable, but it just wasn't what my life could be, which now I know is, yeah, something great. So
Exactly. And you're very pregnant.
I am very
and
pregnant.
also you were one of the
Ready to
lucky
pop.
ones with all your treatments and things
Yes.
that you're able to conceive, which is amazing.
Yes, I did
So
a
take that, ex-husband. I'm just kidding.
exactly. But yeah, I did a blood test after treatment, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 months after treatment. And then it said I was on the low end of normal for the amount of eggs that I had left. So that was, I'm not sure if that's because I did get some extra injections and things,
Mhm.
something called Lupron, which isn't necessarily to preserve fertility, but it could help. So I was doing that. And so we don't really know if that's why I was able to be pregnant or not, but either way.
You are,
It's great.
works.
Yes.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I
Thank
also
you.
want to, I know we talked about this as well. You had to get both your hips replaced.
I did have.
You were so young, so that kind of like blows my
Yes.
mind.
Yeah, I did have both of my hips replaced in 2020. So I was in the last 7 or 8 months of treatment. I got one done in January and one done in July.
Why? Is that like common or?
It's not really that common. Again, I lucked out. But the steroids that you have to take can sometimes have a bad effect on your joints.
Mhm.
So it degraded my hip joints and my shoulder joints. So I had to get both my hips replaced. I was like limping around for a long time in a lot
Oh
of
my
pain. So
God.
now I feel great. My hips feel great. My shoulder isn't that
I know
amazing.
now
but
you're pregnant. That's all it made me think of. I'm like, you have new hips. Now you're supporting
Fresh
your
hips for
child.
the baby.
Yeah,
yeah,
but you feel good.
yeah. No, my hips feel like the same as they used to. So that's great.
I'd love to know when you were going through this process for 2 years, Sarah, like what were some of the greatest supports like you had, whether it was from your friends or family that helped you?
Like what specific things were they doing? Kind of
Yeah,
thing?
was there anything for you that was
Like you couldn't have
that you
survived
loved.
without it.
that you were
Oh.
grateful for?
People's company for sure. I mean, it got harder during COVID. So I started treatment before
Right.
and then towards the end, like my last little bit of treatment was COVID. So people couldn't come into the hospital with me anymore and things like that. But at that point it was okay because I was able to drive myself at that point and I was feeling much better. But yeah, I loved having people's company. Yeah, it makes you feel less alone for sure. The nurses and the staff and the doctors and everyone at the hospital are amazing and so friendly and lovely, and they just make you feel so at home. And because I was there so often, like you really get to know everyone. So yeah, that was really nice. People brought meals at the beginning, like just those kinds of things were really helpful. I joined a lot of like online community groups, and that, yeah, just feeling less alone, I think was, I guess, the theme that I'm seeing here as I'm talking about it. Yeah, just being able to talk to people who understand, or just having those people that love you, being around you, those kinds of things, I think, stand out the most.
And what about the support and the shift of kind of going through treatment and being sicker to being in remission and kind of, you know, back living your day-to-day normal life? Like, what was that transition like for, I know this is something you had mentioned before, people kind of just slowly, not intentionally, but stop, they're not there quite as much, and you needed more support then. So can you
Right.
kind of tell us about that?
Yeah, it's actually, well, for me, my remission was like before the 2 years even started. So technically in remission, and then they're like, oh, you can
Right,
go
so
ahead with the
yeah.
2, with the 2 years. It was after I finished treatment, I got to ring the bell which you get to do at the hospital once you like finish all your treatments and you're going to go home and you don't have any, like, it's just,
I'm never coming back. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, it's more at that point that everyone kind of, all the people around you that have been supporting you kind of get to go, okay, like she's okay. And they go back to their normal lives. And then you're kind of left there like, oh, okay, what do I do now? Like, really, like, who am I? Like, a lot of people can't go back to work, whether they're just not, they're still recovering, or they might be disabled at that point, or whatever it is. And yeah, people don't realize that actually what a lot of people find is the hardest part is that transition and getting back to normal life. Because when you're going through treatment, you're just kind of surviving. And then after is when you have to start processing all that kind of trauma and all the things that happened to you and trying to navigate life now kind of on your own. You're not at the hospital anymore. You're not really a patient. You may or may not be back to work. I know going back to work is a really big transition for a lot of people, because you're still often dealing with a lot of side effects, very tired, and different things a lot of people are experiencing. So yeah, it's just people don't realize that that's actually when you might need more support, or might need people to check in to see how you're doing. People kind of just assume like, okay, she's better, or he's better. Yeah,
You're back to normal.
yeah, which I'm sure is very relieving for all the people around you. But yeah, that's when all the mental kind of work starts happening. So like you did all your physical work through treatment, and then afterwards you're like, oh, okay, like you're kind of left reeling from this experience.
How did you start to process some of that trauma in that time?
Well, I was able to get hooked up with a counselor at the hospital, which was really nice. So I talked to the social worker at the hospital, who can sometimes help you with things like insurance and whatever, and coordinate things for you. And she put me on a wait list to be able to talk to someone. So once the relationship started getting really bad, I said, I really need to talk to someone. It wasn't even really the cancer that was the problem at that point for me. Like, it was more the relationship, but it was really good to be able to talk to somebody who deals with cancer patients on a regular basis and is educated in that and knows a lot about that. And then is able to, kind of give you tools, or just someone to talk to, really. So that was like obviously the biggest way that I was able to kind of start processing that and learn how to process that kind of, and just time, really.
Time is helpful. But I think it is a really good point that you brought up, that it's like, while you're going through it, you're really focused on surviving. It's not until after that all those other things start to hit.
Yeah, you're just, and like I said at the beginning, for me, I was just such a zombie. Like, I wasn't processing anything. I was just literally just eating and sleeping and not really doing too much other than that. I mean, I was doing school, but even besides that. So yeah, it's when it all ends, then you kind of look back and go, oh, okay. Yeah.
It sounds like talking to someone like professionally and just having support is really important. Like anyone listening that feels that way.
We all need that.
Yeah, we all need that.
I truly think everyone needs to talk to someone.
We all need
say
it
anything out loud most of the time is quite helpful. And to have someone that actually, can really help you, steer you in the right direction is probably just like a breath of fresh air and weight lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah. And just to know that, like, oh, that's quite normal, and everything you're feeling is very common and normal. And because you just really don't know who you are. It sounds, like you were saying, very cliche.
But it's that age too.
Yes, for sure.
In your 30s, you're trying to figure out so much about yourself and life too. Yeah,
like you're just starting your career and all this stuff, and then this happens. So a lot to kind of process and work through and figure out your next steps, I guess.
And here you are.
And here I am.
Full-term pregnancy. With a new man and healthy, which we love. I kind of alluded to it at the beginning, but can you kind of tell us a little bit more about, which I found very interesting, like some of the terms, not that they're wrong, and we don't want anyone to think that, but that you kind of don't love, and other people maybe in the cancer community don't love as much, like warrior or survivor and things like that.
Yeah, it's actually quite a hot topic in a lot of the groups that I'm in. Yeah, it's talked about a lot. It's just like the language, and like you said, it's not wrong, and some people don't mind it. It's just some people are, I don't know if they're really triggered by it or they just
Right.
really really dislike it.
Bless you, Mark.
But yeah, things like warrior, because when you're sick, you don't feel like a warrior. You don't feel like you're really an active participant in what's going on. You're not in control of anything. You're really just a passive person. It's just happening to you. You're laying in bed, watching movies, feeling really crappy. And then people are like, you're an inspiration, you're a warrior. And you're like, am I? I don't want it. But if this is what that is, I don't really want it. And also you don't really feel like you're embodying that because you don't feel like
Right.
you're doing anything but surviving, like just. And I think I had mentioned to you, Ashley, when we talked before, one of my favorite things, and a lot of people on social media really like, is from the Cancer Patient, which is an Instagram account that, yeah, everybody should follow. It's hilarious. But one of the kind of taglines is "Good job not dying." So you put that on like a t-shirt or a cake on like your whatever cancerversary or whatever, because yeah, that's literally all you did. Like you didn't actually do anything. It feels like, you just kind of like accepted treatment. You were just, passive in it. So it's just like, yeah, good job not dying.
Probably people look, especially in your case, like you had the relationship, shift and all these things. And it's just like, wow, like you literally have been through so much, like good job. Like I admire it. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine just like getting a divorce from Jeff, but then managing, not feeling well and then having to like
Jeff, it's not happening.
I love you.
I just want to be clear.
But to manage all these things, I feel like it's really hard for people to understand and wrap their head around, and they're like, wow, you did that.
Yes.
You got through all of that.
And I think to your point, like it is, I don't think necessarily these terms are just for people who aren't the patient or the person who's diagnosed, but I think that they make those people like they're not that they make them feel better, but it's just like, yeah, you feel like, wow, what an inspiration, and like, wow, what an amazing person. And the person's like, I didn't do anything.
I know what you're saying. It's almost like when someone puts a label on you, there's not, like Ashley said, and like you agreed, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not something that you necessarily resonate or would pick for yourself.
Yeah. So I think some people are a little bit sensitive about that, or like, yeah, like so warrior or inspiration, or like you're like a fighter, because you just don't.
What would you say?
I don't know. I was thinking about it because I know we talked about it before, and I don't really have anything to replace it with. I don't really mind survivor because I literally feel like I survived. I didn't do very much. But yeah, I don't know if I've seen a term that really necessarily resonates with me. That's probably resonates the most, but none of them bother me personally. I just know many cancer patients are bothered by them. And then even people that pass away, when it says like this person lost their battle with kind of thing, that bothers a lot of people, because it's kind of that same thing, like, oh yeah, they were fighting. Well, I wasn't really fighting. I wasn't really doing anything. I didn't have a choice. Like I wasn't active in this. So yeah, it's just interesting. I had obviously never thought of it either before I was in these groups, but yeah.
No, it's a good way to look at it, because I would, you kind of don't really realize that on the other side, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're happy you're healthy, and here we
go. And it's so nice to hear your story too, Sarah, and just understand like what the experience was like from your perspective. And I think whether it is someone else going through something like cancer, or even just really hard times, whether health related or other things, like you brought up a ton of really valuable points about how like those changes, there's different phases in those changes, whether it's just getting through and then actually being able to accept the transitions that come along with that, and then how you actually start to heal from it.
Right. Yeah. No, it can apply. Yeah, it can apply to so many different things. It's really not only cancer related, but yeah, that's true.
But I think it's like, you face something that is, you can't ignore it. And we're happy that you had such a successful experience and are here with us today to share your experience.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah.
Amazing.
before we wrap,
Yeah, before we play a fun game, what did we ask all of our guests this, Sarah? What lights you up? What are you really excited about right now? I feel like I know what you're gonna say.
Well, I don't know if I have a choice in this, but yeah, no, I'm very excited about my new family. So my partner, Chris, and I are expecting a baby girl very, very, very soon. Maybe, yeah, could be next week, actually.
Before this
Truly.
Comes out.
the baby could be here when the episode is out. We
Yes.
don't know.
Yes, that's true. So yeah, Chris and I are very excited about. So we're lighting up about that, and we just moved into our new house in November, which we were renovating like for 6 months and continued to kind of renovate. He literally built a deck today, so we're trying to get stuff done before the baby arrives.
Nesting.
Yes.
Nesting time.
Nice work, Chris. Very impressive.
He is the best. He is the best.
Oh,
We can't wait to see this deck.
All right, Sarah, take it away.
All right, Sarah. So many Sarahs going around here. Sarah. All right, Sarah, we are going to play a round of Queenie Rams, which is our made up game. It is very easy. All you do is pick a number between 1 and 100, and I think I'm going to say 44, 146, and we'll ask you a question. So you pick a number. We'll all go around and answer.
Wait, a number between what?
1 and 146.
Oh, 146.
Any number.
2.
2.
Mhm.
Let me just scroll back down to the other end of the list. On a first date, would you prefer alcohol or coffee?
Ooh, I don't drink coffee, so I'd have to go with alcohol.
You're going for a drink.
I'm going for a drink. Love the smell of coffee.
Oh,
Love a coffee crisp,
Ooh.
but
I love coffee crystal. That's so good. Ashley, what about you?
I would say maybe a drink, only because I'm picturing it to be in the evening, a little more like intimate, and I feel like you could maybe understand the person's behavior a little bit differently than just like coffee. I don't know.
People
Maybe
are
there's like someone
relaxed.
serving you versus you going to the counter and getting coffee.
true.
I don't know. I'm very big on like I like to. You know,
You want the situation.
I want to see like what's this person about. Give me all
I also
the
like to
things.
dress up,
Yeah.
so like I want to do something.
You want to feel good.
Yeah.
Nighttime attire.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Sarah.
I think I'll also say going for a drink. Mostly because I think if other people are nervous, it's nicer for them.
Hmm.
Takes the edge off.
And also, do you feel like in the daytime, if you went for coffee, you might just run into more people maybe? And might be,
Oh,
like
good point.
more
Good point.
awkward?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
right.
But
Actually, that's
maybe
very
people
true.
would think you were on like a work.
No, you're right. It's like, yeah, the very first date, you don't want other people around. Even I don't want other people around. And I'm like fairly open.
You could be in a more cozy.
I want to be like
environment.
tucked away in the dark, hidden. No one can find me.
And hey, if someone wants to drink coffee on the date, go for it. But we're into the nighttime.
If you can find a dark coffee spot in the day, I'll go. So funny.
Quietly.
Yeah, hidden away. All right, Ash, pick a number.
I want to do 137.
137. Let's see
Just
what we
gonna
got
scroll all
here.
over the place.
Came to me.
What? We've answered this so much lately, so I'm picking a different one.
Okay, pick a different one. Maybe that's why I picked it like subconsciously.
All right, let's see. What's the best costume you've ever worn?
Ooh.
I love these.
I have one of you that I love. I have to say, my favorite was a clown costume.
Oh, really? That's so fun.
As you would say, I felt adorable.
You
I wore
felt
like a
adorable.
tutu, and it wasn't like creepy or scary, and pigtails. And I remember just feeling so
Cute.
fun.
Oh, I love
How
that.
often do you dress up as a clown?
True.
I was gonna say like a flapper outfit, but then I was like, no, I had the most fun as a clown.
Oh, I love that. What about you, Sarah? Do you have an epic costume?
I don't know if you guys are Star Wars fans, but I was Darth Maul. You know, they have like the red face and like
Yes.
the horns
Scary
coming.
one.
Yes. Yeah. So that was me. I don't know, sometime in elementary school.
Ooh.
It's like what's coming to mind. I don't know if it
I
was
love that.
my best or
And
favorite,
did you
but
feel good because you scared everyone?
probably. I just felt cool. I had a lightsaber, so it's pretty awesome.
Nice, nice.
Oh, I really like that. My favorite costume, I think I've got two. I have this epic Superman costume that
Ooh.
I made from like all American Apparel
Nice.
clothing. I have like blue
Spandex.
opaque. Why do I say opaque? Opaque tights, like a tight blue running shirt. I sewed an S on it.
Wow.
I had
Effort.
these beautiful red leather boots I got from Italy, not for the costume, I just owned them. And I went and bought a pair of like red underwear from Licenza at the time, and it was great.
Oh,
And
Wow.
I was very proud of myself that I put that together, and it looked good.
I need to
very
see a
proud.
picture of this.
I know, I'll have to go back and find that one. I will also say, I just saw something on TikTok where you do a costume party where everyone dresses up as their type, and I think that's very
I
funny.
saw
And I
that.
think we should do that. I'm like, this would be hilarious.
Very funny.
Not even sure what I would go as, but I love that. I'm gonna go with number 67. Sarah, what is your go-to snack?
Oh my God. Every snack. Especially now.
as a 9-month pregnant woman, what is your go-to snack?
I really just like all junk, like chips, candy, chocolate, ice cream, like literally everything. I don't know if I have a go-to. I just once you eat something salty, you're like, now I need something sweet, and you just kind of go back and forth. I don't know. I love gummies,
So good.
Smarties, Kinder Buenos. Yeah,
I'm
Miss
impressed with
Vicky's
this
chips.
list.
Oh man, like I could.
Are
I'm
you
just
getting
telling you what I
hungry now?
want to eat right
Right
now.
now, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
poor Chris
sense.
has made quite a few trips to the corner store.
Chris, we love you. We love you, and we see you building that deck, getting
A
those
real
snacks.
hero.
I'm gonna go next only because it's on my mind.
Yeah.
Ashley brought me back Chex Mix from the States, and I was able to get some in Costa Rica as well. And so right now that's my go-to snack,
thinking
and
about
I'm real
having some?
happy. I can't wait to have some when we're done this episode. Hell yeah.
Well, I would have brought you more.
It just smells like Chex
No,
Mix
I
in
don't
here.
want more. I would just eat it all.
I
Like
know.
I can't have more.
It is one of those things you just want to eat and eat.
I cannot have more.
Can you not order it online anymore?
No. Listen,
Really?
This has been years in research.
$40 for me to get a small bag from Amazon. Not worth
$40.
it. Yes, I can't do it.
If
That's a
anyone's
lot.
listening and going to the States, periodically just grab some Chex Mix for us.
Or if you're gonna send us a package with Chex Mix, I'll pay for the postage. Apparently Underground Snacks in Halifax, though, on occasion has
Oh,
some.
my parents will be coming back next in a week or so from the States. So for this.
That we might have to get them to send. Listen, we've got some new American friends down there from our trip in Costa Rica, so I'm sending them all my address and I'm asking them to send me.
Yeah, bring me a duffel bag full of Chex Mix.
Yeah.
Okay, my go-to snack, if I can just right now, because now we're on to Chex Mix, is popcorn.
Oh, you love
I just love, like, even sometimes I'm bored and like I'm thinking and I'm in the kitchen and I just want a handful and I just nibble on it.
Is it your own, like you pop your own or
No.
like the bag?
I don't really discriminate. There's some popcorns I don't like, but I like most.
I will give Ashley just like a little horn toot here. She makes a very excellent stovetop popcorn.
Oh, wow.
That's usually my go-to.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just
It's a
want
treat.
the real butter, real salt.
If she ever offers it, say yeah.
All right. I was gonna say about the Chex Mix, if you make friends with Chris, his brother lives in the States.
Perfect.
Oh,
So-
is he single?
He's not.
No.
All right. If you send the Chex Mix,
He's
we're okay.
married with 2 kids, but
so
maybe
good.
he would send you some Chex Mix. I don't
Right.
I was
know.
just thinking that could be like a forever.
Our forever source.
Wow, we really roped you into this weird
Okay,
conversation.
Chris's brother, we hope you're listening, and I'll send you my address. I won't do anything weird. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on with us today. This has been absolutely lovely to have you on as a guest.
Thank you. I feel honored to be here.
Yeah, we're so happy.
We're so grateful. Can people connect with you online?
Sure, they can. I have Instagram. I have Facebook because I'm old, I guess.
What's your
We're there
Instagram?
too.
My Instagram is Sarah M. Kikuchi. My last name is Kikuchi.
And we will tag on the show notes as well.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
probably helpful.
Is it private account?
No,
Okay.
it's not.
So if you have any questions or you just want to connect with Sarah, that's where you have time.
We
Thanks,
love
Sarah.
it.
Thank you so much.